Welcome to Health Conscientious Entrepreneurs, where we discover secrets to balancing entrepreneurship, life, and healthy habits to achieve radiant health. I'm your host, Ngoc Tai. Today, I have my friend Nadeje Montes from New York. Welcome.
Hey, good
Yes,
evening.
good evening. We met on Facebook, and I reached out to you, and I was really interested in what you're doing. And so, tell us a little about yourself, your journey, and what brings you joy.
Oh, wow. I love those questions. Well, to start with myself, I'm Nadeje.
Mhm.
I am a personal development coach and executive leadership. I focus a lot more on building confidence and leadership. And why leadership and confidence? Well, there was a time in my life where I myself was not ever sure that I was confident.
Mhm.
I've been in education, so I'm an educator for 20 years
Mhm.
and working as an educator, working as a teacher, working as a leader had helped me to really understand what I needed to do for myself in order to build my confidence.
Mhm.
And what it got me to understand as well is that there are times in life when we go through difficulties,
Mhm.
when we hit a plateau,
Mhm.
we have to stand up, step up for ourselves, and move forward.
Mhm.
And it did happen to me in 2016 when I had my breakdown. I had some points in my life where things were not what I thought they would have been or I wanted them to be. And I realized that if I did not make the step, if I did not tell others in my surroundings that I needed to work on myself, I needed to work on me, then I would have been stuck.
Yes.
So I made the choice to not being stuck and made the choice to what I call to relocate my mindset
Yeah.
so I could move forward and start working on my personal development. So I have been in that path
Yeah.
and I'm loving it. So it's making me really love it, enjoying it. That's part of my joy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we have to like you've come into your power, right?
Yes,
Yeah, we went into our journey, and we always have these like journeys that we go through to figure out, okay, what is our purpose in life and what is our power to create and to do something that's different than what we're used to, right?
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, I love what you said because when we do not know what our purpose is in life,
Mhm.
we do feel stuck.
Mhm.
And the intention is as we grow to becoming confident and becoming, more of the version that we always wanted to be of ourselves,
Mhm.
then we understand more and more why the journey is important.
Mhm.
So far, there's a lot of times so far, I remember actually when I was scared of getting in the journey. I was scared of being on the path to know more about who I was, to
Mhm.
know more about the purpose I needed to serve in life, to understand what my passion really was about. Because I'm also an event planner and
Yes.
all those
Yes.
I have that. But
Yes.
to realize that there is something that
Mhm.
called me, that
Mhm.
brought me to really want to live life and enjoy what's in life.
Yes.
And all it is to be around people and help other people get to the best of themselves and
That's right.
build confidence within themselves, then I knew then why it really was important for me to get on that journey.
Right.
So while we are here and as we are talking about it, I'm already advising if any of you, you get on a journey and you feel like you afraid to get in, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay, but just do it. Because it's when you do it, you really know where your joy comes in. You really set the foundation for yourself and
Mhm.
you start understanding your purpose in life.
That's right. And you mentioned like you have three pillars, right? And are these your three pillars that you go back to guiding you when you're making decisions, or what are these three pillars?
I do focus a lot of wealth in my health, in my wealth, and also in relationship.
Mhm.
And part of I would say four pillars, because that's really the focus, because communication is also key in those pillars.
Mhm.
So in all these pillars that we are building, we have to be able to have great communication. Communication starts first with ourselves.
Mhm.
And that's the thing that I had to do and speak to myself. I
Yeah.
had to face myself in the mirror and start talking to myself.
Mm.
And I know there was times and times in life when I hated
Yeah.
being in front of a mirror to talk to myself.
Yeah.
And when I heard about, that practice, I couldn't really understand it.
Yeah.
And it took me to be at my breaking point when, I was really broken to understand when I speak to myself in the mirror, it is building that I'm building the person inside of me. I'm facing that broken woman. I'm facing that heart. I'm facing that beautiful lady standing and looking at myself and saying, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to cry. It's okay to be broken, because there's going to be a time as you're working on yourself, you're going to start seeing why you needed to be at that place. So that has been the practice. So communication, and definitely the pillars are for wealth, for health, and for relationship.
I name my different self, right? Do you have a name for your different self? I have the girl that's the crazy Samantha that I tell her to stop when she starts telling me negative stuff. It's like, Samantha, stop it.
Well, I've always used my nickname, or I just talk to myself in a straightforward way. I would say, Nadeje, get it together, or sometimes I'll say, Deji, get it together, So, yeah, I use my name, or I use, my nickname, but I like that you're using Samantha.
Yes. So it's just like a name, like somebody like that I didn't like. And so I keep Samantha, Samantha, just stop it.
What I usually advise the ladies in my group and in my when I do my newsletters, I usually tell them, talk to your old self. What would you want to say to your old self?
Yeah.
That you didn't have the ability to say when you were going through the problems.
Yeah.
And through the struggles. So it's like taking your old self, looking at her, and tell her. And I have that say that I use for within my company, within my business, where I say, fix the tilted crown. Yeah. So when you stand in front of that mirror, tell the other person that you're looking at, tell her that you are here to help her fix that tilted crown.
Yeah. So I hear that you should stand like a superwoman pose or Superman pose, right? And confidence, and just talk to yourself. Do you do that? Do you have like a superwoman pose?
Wow. I always imagine that I have a cape, a superwoman cape.
Yeah.
And I just look at myself. I stand in front of the mirror. To me, the importance of staring at myself, that's where it starts. Yeah. Because I know how I used to struggle with staring at myself in the mirror. Growing up, I never liked it. Up into, I would say, even in my adulthood, when I really got in my 30s, I still did not like it. Yeah. But I had to get into practice. And 2016 and 2017, 2018, those were the years where I really went into deep, soul search, to know about me, to know about the things that brought me joy, the things that really called for passion, to understand why everywhere I go, people always want to come to me and talk to me. It's because there's something that I say, when I talk to them, that inspires them. And I had to go and understand all that and realize that the minute you start understanding who you are, there's no need to create a place, a facade. There's no need to be a person that you don't want to be, because you're just allowing yourself to be its natural, authentic way. And I had to embrace that. And that's one thing, when we are on the journey, we have to learn to embrace every little things.
That's right. And I agree with you, because there's like people will come to me and they say, there's something about your energy. There's some aura or something about you that, they come, they talk to me, and and I become good friends to them. But it's the confidence that we have. And went to the same journey where, in 2016, everything fell apart, and then I had to pick up the pieces. And then really realizing, okay, well, I've always been confident, but there was something else in my relationship that wasn't working, and after that was over, it's just like rebuilding. It's like rebuilding and figuring your own stuff out, right?
Yes.
And I think it's taking ownership of who you are as a person and the values that are important to you, right? And I think that comes from, once you recognize your value, once you recognize what you can bring to the world, and that confidence, just like it's natural.
Yes, and you start seeing it evolving.
Yeah.
Because there's so much in that you start identifying and giving definition to all those little details that you're finding, in your surroundings, in your realms, that you now can really name it. Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's my confidence that is now showing up.
Yeah.
And you get to see the difference too, because when you are working on yourself, you no longer seeing the part that was shy. You're no longer seeing the part that has ego. You're seeing the part that stands up and really believes in herself. You're seeing the part that is believing that anything is possible.
Yeah.
And that's key.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all in the mindset, right? It's like, okay,
Yes.
you have to have the confidence in there. So you mentioned the 3 pillars. The first one is?
We talked about health, we talked about wealth, and we talked about relationships.
Awesome. So that's what it's like, same with my philosophy of this whole summit, right? Is a spiritual, right? Mental, emotional, right? Financial, and is physical. So those are all in line with how do we become the person we're supposed to be and become, and creating that momentum. And you have a podcast, right? So
I do.
Yeah. So what is that podcast called?
Well, the podcast, it's called Unleashed Unapologetically.
Okay.
Because I do believe that us women, we have to unleash.
Yes.
We have to skyrocket our confidence. We have to show up and build the confidence. And I do believe like our confidence must be built, and we have to wear it the same way we wear our stilettos. We have to wear our confidence the same way we wear our name tags.
Yeah.
So it is important. So yes, it is called Unleashed Unapologetically. And that's where, I empower and guide and help and elevate women to build self-confidence as leaders, as women who believe in themselves, who believes in their businesses, who believe that they can mentally pivot from anything that has to do with life demands and work commitments.
And I love that name. And what caught me about that name is unapologetically, because I feel that a lot of women, we always apologize. Yes. Even though we're not wrong, you know what I mean? Like, even though we're not wrong, we're always apologizing. I'm sorry, my sincere apologies, this and this and this. But men, they don't apologize when they make mistakes. But women, we're just like always apologizing. So why do we do that?
It's nature versus it's nurture versus nature. We have it in us. It is something we cannot really. We can practice on saying it less. Yeah. But this is something that is within ourselves. It's innate. So as we are saying sorry, we also need to know why we are saying sorry. Yeah. Are we saying sorry just to say sorry? Yeah. Or are we saying sorry because we really mean it? And at that time, it is necessary to say sorry. And that's why I said earlier, we need to identify our egos and our confidence, because ego and confidence or arrogance cannot be in the same boat. Yeah. So if I know something was done and it was intentionally done, now if I say sorry when I know it's intentionally done, then it's arrogance in a way, it's ego in a way. So people are not going to accept that,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
But if I know that there was a mistake made,
Yeah.
and it was not intentional, it was something that happened, and now to help you understand how much, it really got through me as well as it
Yeah.
got through you, I come in and I do my sincere apologies to say, I apologize. It was not something that I meant to say or meant to do. It just came out that way, and
Yeah.
I don't know how to take it back. I could only wish that you understand me. That's sincere. That's authentic, and it is valued when you approach someone in that manner. So if we are just, coming in and every little thing we say sorry, after a while, people are not going to buy it.
Yeah, exactly. It's no
You
longer,
know,
it's
because
no
like, oh,
longer
she
an
always
important
says
word.
sorry.
Yeah. It's not value anymore because you're, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we find that it's the common word to say, okay.
Yeah.
And others are not going to value it. So we need to know the same way we say yes, the same way we say no, and we know when to say them.
Yeah.
It's the same way we have to know when to apologize.
Yeah. So do you think it has to do with like when we're growing up, maybe our parents keep telling us to like say sorry, so sorry, and so that's why we're constantly apologizing all the time, or compare men to women?
Well, culture has a lot to do with it.
Yes.
Culture, it depends on where you're from. I'm from the Caribbean.
Yes.
And I always know that, I was always taught, you have to say sorry. You have to, you cannot look at, adults when they're having conversation in their eyes, and a lot of things. And when I remember when I moved in the United States, that's 20 something years ago.
Yeah.
I continued to follow that same pattern. Mind you, I was already in my 20s.
Yeah.
And realizing that here, not everybody says sorry if they don't have to.
Yes.
They walk in and they just ignore you. And I had to go and
especially in New York.
Out, okay, wait, why is it me? And understand that no, it's cultural. And it's the same for you as well, because I do believe, you have the same, it's implemented where that if you did something, especially the females, are educated a certain way, raised a certain way to always bow down. And as we grow up, it becomes our beliefs. And why the mindset is necessary. And I do strongly believe in the relocation of the mindset, because when you relocate your mindset, a lot of misconceptions, a lot of those negative beliefs that you are holding on to, you start realizing that they are no longer necessary. And they can help you be better when you let them go and start cultivating your principles.
Yeah. So, what advice, what tools, like besides talking to yourself is like one tool, right? What other tools do you suggest for people to build their confidence? Like, if you're not confident, like, is there something else? We talked about like that pose, right? Or what else? What else can we do besides the pose, or talking to ourselves? What other tools do you suggest for people to kind of build a confidence? Do they need to go deep and understand who they are, or what do they need to do?
Yes. I do have what I call the 7-day confidence journey.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the process I had to use for myself in order to help me build myself. I called it the 7 days, but it doesn't take only 7 days to build confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Confidence building is a process.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to keep practicing it over and over and over until you are able to maintain being comfortable around the things you were uncomfortable being around. Now, my 7-day confidence journey is also what I use in my closed group on Facebook when I do my challenge. So therefore, on Monday, I focus on mindset. Where is my mindset when I wake up in the morning? Where do I want to be? And on Tuesday, I focus on gratitude. Does that mean it's only Tuesdays that I have to say thank you? No. Does it mean it's Tuesday that I have to show up and say, well, I'm grateful for? No. but it's the setup that I had for myself, just so I can keep on working on the development for myself. And I encourage, somebody who decide that, you know what, I'm feeling really down, I'm feeling depressed, I just need a startup.
Yeah.
Then the startup would be, okay, let's work on a motivational state where, on Monday you work on your mindset, on Tuesday you work on your being grateful, find something, 3 things that you are grateful for. On Wednesday, start identifying the key elements of your confidence.
Yeah.
On Thursday, let's go and set up the goals that you have for yourself.
Yeah.
On Friday, live curiously.
Yeah.
That means you go, yes, you go, you meet somebody new, you talk to someone new, you exercise, presenting yourself to do something you've never done before.
Yeah.
On Saturday, you go after the goals that you set up on Thursday. And on Sunday, you celebrate your wins, and then you start all over again until it is achieved. So I call it the 7-day journeys.
That's awesome, because that's just clear, right?
Yes.
And then you just build from that. Just like, okay, let's do it. And then it takes 21 days to build a habit. If you keep doing that, then it becomes all natural, right? And then your confidence, will come. And so for me, I feel like the confidence comes from the core. Like your core values. We have these core values that we're born with, right? We're born that we're taught, right? Like our parents taught us these certain values. They spend the time to teach us these values. And then we develop our own values from the environment and our society and the things that serve us. And then we start building these building blocks of that, right? And then from there, I think that takes time. And then building that who you are, your boundaries, the things that make you tick, the things that brings you joy, the things that you like or you don't like, and understanding your needs, right? It's like, what is your needs? And how do we make sure that those needs are met? Versus
to be able to identify who you are and how you hold your integrity. Are you a humble person? What do you love? How do you love people? How do you nurture people? And for me, who is in education, and I worked in early childhood and elementary, it's something that's inside when you come in and you just deliver yourself to these children, and you're teaching them. And as a coach, my job is also to help my client understand the importance of their importance in my life. And how, while they are working on themselves, how important it is, because what it does to me, it helps me see that they have it in them. And I always believe that everybody can do it. So when you have a core value that is strong, it starts from the education that was given to you when you were a kid. But as you grow, you grow older, and I know I said it earlier, you build your own principles. You add to it. If you have, that's why when you're setting up your business, you set up your business upon your core value. Right? A core values that people can come in and say, I trust this company. I trust this lady. I want to work with her because she really knows what she's talking about and she's authentic. So that's pretty much the setup. That's pretty much how the way you are building yourself. So in the practice of the 7 days, you get to identify who you are. And I always recommend that, get a journal, write your thoughts, put them on a journal, and then go back, revisit them and see for yourself what you wrote, what your intentions were, and what you want to do going forward.
So I mean, you brought up being an educator, and I see educator like at my son's school, like he's a high schooler, right? And sometimes I wonder about the teachers. It's like, how do we have programs to help the teachers? They're overworked, right? And not being supportive, but I feel like they're losing their passion. They're losing their motivation. And when they don't have that motivation, they don't have that passion, it's a reflection of how they teach and how they pass on to the students. And so it always shouldn't there be a program that we should make all the teachers go and just get them, the confidence, get them the what, that all, like, what can we do as a society to help
Mm.
educators, because they're the ones that spend so much time with their children. They're the ones that needs to be
Mhm.
supported. They're the ones they're the ones that our children look at
Mhm.
every single day more than us, because they spend the whole time in school, right? And then how do we help these teachers so that they have that, they have that
Yeah.
fire back, because I feel like a lot of teachers are losing their fire because they're not being supported, you know.
Mhm. Mhm. I
Um,
really like that, and I like the thought because it's something that, for myself, I have shared as well. And as I work as a leader in the field, as a trainer, as a mentor in the field, I have also seen how much it impacts, especially on teachers in early childhood,
mm,
because they always felt like they are not as valued
mm,
as a high school teacher or mid-school year teacher would be valued, because there's certain credentials or criteria that others have that they may not have, and it brings them to hold back.
yeah,
And I've also seen the lack of confidence as well, because they always fear that all the work is based on what not much of the academic, because the academic is necessary, but it's more about, oh, everything is on the paperwork, and
yeah,
they felt overloaded
yeah,
with that.
yeah,
And by that alone, they start separating the nurturing part of themselves. They start feeling disconnected.
yeah,
And when you raise that idea, it is important. And I think as a society, we would have to continue to provide the health,
yeah,
the healthy, and mental health professional training for, those teachers,
yeah,
with coaches who
yeah,
are really certified to work with these teachers
yeah,
and help them build the confidence.
yeah,
Because it's one thing that they're working with an educational coach, because when I worked with them, when I trained, my approach was as an educational coach. But when you have a life coach
yeah,
working with you, when you have a personal development coach working with you,
yeah,
now the focus is in you.
yeah,
The focus is on finding your pain points. The focus is on helping you develop how you want to be. So when you are working in the classroom, you do not let the overwhelming paperwork
right,
or children who do not behave and
yeah,
all that get to you and make you feel disconnect.
yeah,
And so as a society, we would have to come and sit together, talk about the how to really help teachers by giving them, all sorts of professional developments
yeah,
that pertain toward personal development.
mm,
Because there's, professional development, but they also need the personal development. And
yeah,
that's one thing that is lacking in the
it
education.
is. So, I mean, I see that as lacking, and also teaching kids finances.
Mm-hmm,
Like, I would
mm-hmm,
love to, like, go to a high school and teach finances. And that's what I did for some of my coworkers. Like, I have a class and really talk about, like, how do you view money? Like, there's so
mm-hmm.
many things that our children were taught to remember things, we're taught to read these topics, but are they serving the needs of kids to be responsible adults?
Yeah,
Are
yeah.
they, do they know how to manage the money? Do they know how to manage their emotions? Do they know how to deal with all the things, the stress and all things that goes on in their life? Like, there has to be, we have to have a movement towards that. Like, how do we, it's because we hear so many things, the kids that go through all the bullying, and it's like the symptoms that we see in society, right? It's like the children and all the shooting and all that stuff. It's just like
Yeah.
there is an underlying issue of core issue that we have not addressed in terms of how these children are raised, the
Mm-hmm.
exposure they have in the school, the impact and all that stuff. And I feel like there's just has to be like a whole revamping of looking at what's wrong with what we're doing in terms of our children, because they are a reflection of who we are and how we show up for them, right? Or how we bring them
Yes.
up. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely agreeing with that.
Yeah.
It starts in the classroom with the teachers, of
Yes.
course. So when the teacher is not confident and the teacher does not see herself as, the leader of her classroom,
Right.
then that's when you fail the child.
Yes.
And that's when because you don't know how to properly set up your students to become leaders as well. And the intention is to have that woman or that man who's teaching in his classroom or her classroom
Yeah.
wearing a cape saying that, you know what, these are my students. This is the person I am. I'm confident that it's going to be a wonderful school year and my kids will love me. We have those type of teachers.
Yeah.
However, like we said, for everybody to come together and not just talk, but
Yes.
put a plan in action
Yes.
on how we can provide the personal development for these teachers so they can know how to set up personal goals for themselves in order to get them to be the leaders that they need to be.
Yeah, it's so powerful. It's like if this whole pandemic has taught us anything, we need to go back to what's important. Right?
Yes.
And what is the core and what's important in life? How do we move forward? How do we shift and how do we look at education? Like they have to revamp the whole education process right now to adapt for studying at home. And what does it mean studying at home for the children? How do we, as parents who are working parents, like that's again that balancing act that we're doing, right? It's like the balancing act of okay, now
A new balance. Yes.
it's like, oh my goodness, now we have if people have a small kid at home, how do you balance having a career, still having to be on the computer, and your kid knows you're at home still, and they're trying to do their homework, and it's just been chaos for parents trying to do this balancing act that we're all trying to achieve.
Yes.
Yes. So
And that's when we see I'm sorry, I was gonna say, that's also when we see how the pandemic has impacted us in a mental way as well. It affects the mental health because yes, we are home and we're working remotely, and our children who are at home with their parents get to see their parents working remotely, but there's that pressure that is still there because you still need to provide to your work and you still need to provide to your home. So that's why, I said, why I help women build confidence so they can mentally pivot from life demands and work commands, because that's what it is. We get in between the life demands, and life demands is everything that's happening inside the house, inside, making sure that, you cook, making sure laundries are done, making sure the house is clean, making sure you're taking care of the children. And then you still have to work, and work commands, when your supervisor is sending you email, that you still have to reply. When there's deadline, you still need to meet the deadlines. You make sure that all your documentations are set in place. And sometimes you feel you're losing yourself because you have to always give your 100% and even your 1,000% to both of them at the same time. So we need to be able to know how to mentally pivot, how to relocate the mindset, how to understand and respect the shift that's happening as well.
That's very true. And having a supportive partner at home is very important.
Yes.
Honestly, I mean, it takes a village to raise a child, as we all say, right? It takes like the neighbors and the partners, and we don't have the imbalance at home. Having a support, and you're a single mom, like I'm a single mom, it's so hard, and we have to be empathetic to parents who are single parents, trying to juggle job, having kids, like meet all the needs and stuff like that. And then self-care, self-love, self-care. Oh my gosh, it's like that's like always the last priority, but that has to be a priority,
It
like
is.
self-development, self-care, because we only have ourself, our asset. This is an asset. As an accountant, I say assets and liability. We're an asset.
We are.
We need to invest in this asset, right? Invest in our brain, invest in our health, invest in all these things so that we can be better in producing and creating something, right? If we don't invest in ourselves, we don't get there.
It starts with us. It starts with you. And, when we say, fix that tilted crown, when we say stand in front of the mirror, it's because you need to love yourself first.
Yes.
So self-care is not just, doing your nails, doing your
Yes.
hair, makeup and all that. Self-care is everything that is about you.
Yes.
Your self-awareness, self-conscious about who you are, being aware of, your about, being aware of the love that you have for yourself. So
Mm.
if you're not able to love yourself first, how are you able to give love to others around you?
Yes. Well said.
Because they have to learn from you
Mm.
how you love yourself so they can love you and you can love back. But
That's
it's a
right.
practice. It takes time, but it's a practice.
Yes, totally, totally. All right, I think we can talk forever and ever. Yeah, I know how. So I have the one question I always ask, all right? If
Okay.
you have the superpower, this one superpower to change the world, what would you do and why?
Wow.
I give you a superpower.
Yes. Well, my superpower would be to gather everybody, all women who are lacking confidence, and sit with them, build their mindset, talk to them, and encourage them to start loving themselves first, because that's how it starts.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, I would, as a superwoman, oh boy, I would make
So
sure
are
it's
you
not.
Supergirl or you're Wonder Woman? Or what?
Well, I am definitely Wonder Woman.
That's me too. I always love Wonder Woman.
And what I would do is ensuring that education is a place for everyone. Not it's because I don't see it as a one place for one person. It's fit for all.
Yeah.
So everyone should have a part of being educated, able to know that somebody's there to help them and guide them. So I would be the guidance. I would be that person who would change, the way it's been, just so everybody who has not had the chance to get that education does have part of it.
Yeah, so important. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. So, how do we find you? I know we talked about your podcast and
Yes.
your website. Share. How do we find you? We want to find you and.
All right. So if you are looking to connect with me, you could find me on my podcast, Unleashed Unapologetically, or you can go to my website, which is Uslay, as the letter U, Slay, SLAY, confidence.com. Or you can join me on Facebook, because I'm also there. When you put facebook.com/Uslay Confidence, still with the letter U, Slay Confidence.
Awesome. And as part of this summit, we have an offer to make for our viewers who are interested in being part of this drawing we have, and we're making an offer for your.
We have a 45 minutes breakthrough sessions that we also offer. So if you are that woman who's looking forward to build her confidence, you are that woman who wants to wear your confidence the same way you would wear your stilettos. You want to be that woman who stands on stage without fear, being unapologetically you and unapologetically confident. This is where you meet with me. You go to calendly.com/Uslay Confidence.
Yes.
45 minutes break.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a
and I will send you the link as well.
Yeah, and then we'll do that raffle and give that out for as part of listening to our summit. Right. Well, thank you so much.
My alarm goes off. I guess we are right on time.
I appreciate you. Yay.
You are quite welcome.
All right,
Thank
I'm
you
gonna
so
stop
much.
the recording.